on Wednesdays. Oh, hello there. Thank you for joining us once again on this, the
111th episode of Drunk Doctor Who,
wherein we discuss the
111th serial, Meglos. Or we should start saying story, because eventually they're not serials. Some of them will be one episode. So you could call it a serial, but more accurately a story.
Story of Meglos.
Yeah, we're not quite there yet, but we'll get there eventually. Alright. This is in the 18th season of Doctor Who, the second serial. We watched a couple weeks ago The Leisure Hive. It was a very strange season. It's really weird.
Very sci-fi.
Yeah, very sci-fi. It gets even more sci-fi. The quality in some of the stuff it's starting to go downhill, and you can notice it
with the costume design.
Yeah, the change in costume. He's in purple. Yeah,
they can only afford one staircase.
They've got one staircase, and dang nabbit, they're going to use it.
Pictures and green screen,
blue screen.
Blue screen. They relied on heavily.
Yeah. Okay.
Still fun.
It is fun, and Tom Baker's amazing. Romana's amazing, Lala Ward, and it's a decent serial. But this could have been 3 episodes, not 4. There was a lot of repeating. The recaps were fairly long, and there were some contrivances, like the little time loop, in order to get it to a 4th episode.
Yeah, long recaps. It could have been 3.
Yeah,
for sure.
Could have been, and we do get a couple 3-parters later on. The 2 Doctors are 3-parter, but it's hour-long 3-parters. And then, oh my gosh, Gaslight, I think is the name of it.
Gaslight.
The 7th Doctor, I think, that is a 3-parter. That there's so much going on that it should have been a 4 or 5-parter, because I had to watch it like 4 times before I understood what was happening. Because it's just it runs at such a clip. I mean, such an insane clip.
Had serials sort of like that before. It feels very contractually obligated that it's like, here's your time slot, you have to fill this with a 4-episode story, and just kind of...
Ghostlight.
Yeah.
Ghostlight. Ghostlight. In the later season, in Sylvester McCoy's era,
He's related to...
No.
Oh, okay.
They drop down into a bunch of, couple of 4-episode serials and a couple 3-episode serials.
Sort of break the mold a little bit.
Well, there's only 14 episodes in those seasons, so they have to. They can't do 4 4s. Alright, so anyway.
Cactus Man.
Today is the 6th of February, 2023.
Happy New Year.
And the number of episodes 4, they were aired September 27th, 1980 to October 18th, 1980. Companions were Romana. There should be an A here.
Oh.
Romana, not Roman. Well, it's probably the second Romana, but we haven't discerned between the two because this is the main character. K9. And the antagonists are Meglos and the Gaztak.
Gaztak? They're like sellswords?
Pirates, yeah.
Yeah, space pirates.
All right.
More space pirates.
Okay, so this is Tom Baker in cactus makeup. By the way, they used the cactus creature makeup
again
way down the line.
So
we're talking the specials. We're talking 2009 and 2010
officially,
and this is 1980. So you don't see it for another 30 years again.
Meglos is coming back in 30 years.
No, it's not Meglos.
Oh.
It's a different race that Wilf refers to as the cactus people.
Oh.
And they're like, that's racist. All right. He's like, hooray for the cactus people. All right.
So not Meglos specifically, but his kind?
No. Different kinds. Meglos just happened to be a plant that went in that. I'm not saying it's the same race, because he was the last survivor. I'm saying it's the same makeup style.
Meglos was the dad of this new cactus
No,
race.
he's dead. The whole planet's dead.
He could have had a baby.
No, he said he was the last survivor.
I mean, like, since...
No, he's dead. He's vaporized.
Yeah.
This is a different race from a different planet.
All right,
I'm just saying they use the same style of makeup. All right. You should put that lady as an antagonist also.
Yeah, Lexa.
Yeah. Seriously, she should be an antagonist as well. The only reason she redeemed herself at all was because she gave up her life.
She said Romana, yeah. I mean, she was not so much intentionally antagonistic as just misguided, I would say.
Yeah. All right.
She thought she was doing the right thing. Kind of.
The road to hell is paved with good intentions,
Mm-hmm.
right? All right. So anyway, okay, we've got some other interesting stuff to talk about on this, but real simple. The plot is very simple.
Mm-hmm.
You have this planet called Tywilla?
So it's the Tiglet.
Tywilla?
Beyond Ty. Yeah.
Well, they
The
say
Ties that people
to
tie-
tie, but yeah.
Tigellans.
Tygella.
So
Alright.
the planet Tigella.
Okay, so you have this planet,
There it is, Tigella.
and it's called Tygella. And apparently, all the people there have to live underground. Think Logan's Run. Okay?
Yeah, very aggressive plant life.
Right, or Alpha Complex, because yeah, the very aggressive plant life. Anyway, so the culture is divided in two distinct groups. You have the Daons, which worship this dodecahedron, which produces all their energy because it came out of the sky.
Religious.
Yeah, very, very, very religious, cultish. And then you have the other side, which are the, what do they call themselves?
17.
No. Savants.
Yes.
Yeah, 17. You're harking back to Leela. You have the savants. The savants are these scientific guys who are trying to keep everything running as best they can because they're basically engineers and scientists and stuff. However, they're not allowed to even mess with the dodecahedron that provides all their power.
Which that complicates things because this religious artifact supplying power to their entire planet, but the scientific engineers aren't really allowed to interact with it, so
Right.
it's having some power output issues.
Yeah, because it's being worshipped like a god, you know? Basically, I guess analogous to sun gods back in the day, because the sun does provide pretty much most of our power, indirectly, if nothing else.
Like, here's our power source. We didn't make it.
But we'll worship it.
We don't know how it works. But...
I mean, all the way down to human sacrifices.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in fact, that's mentioned fairly early on. So anyway, they're having problems in Tygella, and they're trying to keep the city from falling apart. In the meantime, the Doctor and Romana were fixing Canine from the last serial when he went into the water at the very beginning.
It's not watertight.
Yeah.
That was leisure house?
Seawater.
Yeah.
And so they're working on Canine, and there's a ship of pirates. The Gaztac. That bring a human, an Earthling.
Yeah.
Caucasian, male, 2 meters tall, and it's about 6'3".
I don't know if they ever say his name.
No, I think they just refer to him as Earthling.
Just he gets turned into a cactus. So.
Yeah, he gets transported halfway across the galaxy, and the pirates land on, what's the name of that weird planet?
Tygella? Oh, the other one?
Yeah. The screens of whatever.
Yeah. It's kind of like the Death Star. It's more like an asteroid. It's the smaller one, right?
Well, but the whole planet is dead. It's just a desert. There's nothing left there.
I don't know if I got the name of that planet.
Okay, it had a hyphenated name. Tyla something or whatever.
No, I don't have that one.
Right.
D20. Oh, no.
Yeah, I thought it was a D20, but it's a D12.
Yeah.
Dodecahedron. Alright.
They worship a D&D dice. Not even the best dice.
No, I mean it's good if you're using
Firebolt.
An axe. You know, great axe or firebolt or maybe a halberd.
Wait.
Yeah.
Thinking of D10.
Okay. So anyway, they land on the planet. They bring this human there, and while they're there at this great screens of whatever the name of the planet is, this base in the middle of the screens lifts up out of the sand, and a door opens, and they go in, bringing the human, and there's a cactus, and they're talking. A voice comes over. That's Meglos. Nice booming voice. Anyway, he's talking, and what's his name? The main guy for the pirates.
Disaster or Dietrich's?
Dietrich. No. Actually, it's neither of them.
The sidekick is Brotagak.
That's the lieutenant.
Yeah.
But the general.
Oh, Grogan?
Gurgen, yeah. Or Grugan.
Grugan.
Yeah. General Grugan. Anyway, so there's Lieutenant Bolderak or whatever. Brotagak. There's General Grugan. And the general figures out that it's the cactus that's talking.
Very observant.
Yeah, very observant.
Meanwhile, Brotagak's
trying to steal his stuff.
Walks in, shine.
So they take the human and they take the cactus and they put it in this deal that transforms the cactus and deflates it and turns the cactus basically into the human, and the human comes out and he's got little cacti things on him.
Yeah, splices his human DNA with cactus DNA.
I don't know if you can call it DNA at that point.
Everything has DNA.
I guess so.
He's a smart cactus.
So anyway, apparently Meglos is the last survivor of that planet, period. Everyone else is dead. And apparently, although it's never blatantly described in the serial, they sent out those dodecahedrons to the nearby planets to remove the source of power from this planet so they couldn't make war with themselves.
Which is what they did do.
Right, when they destroyed themselves. So that's when the dodecahedron
They seem
ended
a little overpowered because they can power entire galaxies and destroy planets.
Right. That's why they got rid of them.
Overkill, yeah.
So the dodecahedron ended up on Tagilla. Tagilla. The dodecahedron went from the one planet over to Tagilla, and that's when it came from the heavens, and they started worshiping it because they figured out that it released all this power.
What's that movie where there's a guy in an airplane and he throws a Coke bottle out the window?
The gods must be crazy.
Hey.
The first one's good, the second one not so good. Yeah.
They made a second one?
Yes. There's The Gods Must Be Crazy too.
Well, the first one was great. He walks to the end of the earth to throw the Coke bottle off because they're all fighting over it.
Sometimes you gotta get rid of stuff you're fighting for. Okay, so anyway, this is never fully explained, although it's very much alluded to, So the doctor, while fixing K9, remembers that he had been to Tagilla, and he's like, well, I should call them up.
He's met this guy named Zaster.
Yeah, there's this nice guy, Zaster, Zaster. He showed me around 50 years ago. So the doctor calls him up. Zaster is... The whole thing's a big, giant fight between the savants and the Deons. And the whole society is this dichotomy and fight. So Zaster, he's the leader. He's trying to be diplomatic and keep the peace. And he's like, look, I'll tell you what. We've got an old friend who called. He's in the neighborhood. I'll bring him in, and he'll be okay because he's smart and he's wise and he's intelligent, and he can see the strings of the universe when they break, and he can put them back together.
They said something about him being intelligent enough to relate to everyone's...
Mature enough to see differing points of view.
Yes.
So to accept and understand different points of view.
Intermediary. So of course Zaster replies to the doctor's email of, yes, please come. However, the cactus guy, Meglos, does not want that to happen.
Right. He's got a big plan that I think he adapted because he didn't know the doctor was going to show up and do this.
Right. Yeah.
I think he adapted his plan.
So he intercepts the TARDIS, right?
Right, and he puts it in a time loop.
What do they call it?
Chronos. Oh my God, what was the second word?
I don't think the first one was Chronos.
Chronotic?
The time loop, basically.
Okay.
Another.
Did you not get the second word?
No.
I figured that would have been a big thing to write down, but okay.
I just wrote down time loop.
Okay, they use fancy words to say they're in a time loop, and if they can't figure out how to get out of it, they'll be stuck for a long time. So the Doctor and Romana are in a time loop, and the time loop even almost includes a pratfall.
Phase cancellation?
That's what they do to get out of it.
Oh, yeah.
But remember, the Doctor is almost included in a pratfall.
Mm-hmm. He's tripping over his. He's wearing this
apron, and he trips over the strings, and they repeat this like 3 or 4 times to show that they're in the loop. You know, harkening back to the time slips in City of Death, or the big time loop at the end of the Key of Time.
Also, they do it to show that they can fill a 4-episode time slot because it's a long recap.
It's a bit stretched out. So anyway,
eventually they realize.
Well, they're in the time loop. Eventually they realize it, and it's like, oh no, if we're in this, we'll never get out. Chronotic, whatever it was, hemostasis or hematosis or something weird. So anyway,
none of those words.
None of those are correct. All right. So anyway, then Romana goes, "We'll never get out," and the pirate General Grugan, he's like, the Doctor will never make his trip to Gela, and then the cactus guy who had been looking at a picture of the Doctor turns around and goes, "Oh yes, he will," and he looks just like Tom Baker.
It
is Tom Baker.
Yeah. It's another doppelganger.
End of episode 1. Yeah, he's a doppelganger.
So every Doctor but Pertwee has had a doppelganger?
The first 4, yeah. Pertwee never played himself, although oddly enough, in Inferno, he went to that evil world,
and there was
no him, but there was everybody else playing the mirror mirror versions of themselves.
See, I just want to think that he had a doppelganger in Inferno, but it was just the Brigadier and his companions.
It was just him, yeah. Yeah, remember William Hartnell?
Yeah. He had 2. He had a Dalek robot and the French official.
Correct. The Inquisitor, I think, was a French official. He had Salamander. Pertwee did not, but I guess by this point it may have been too much of a trope, but then Tom Baker does, you know?
Tom Baker had a doppelganger before Meglos?
No. Not that I remember. Meglos, in his final season, is his only doppelganger.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of a time loop, I think. Yeah. Okay.
Alright.
So fun trope.
Yeah, fun trope. Interestingly done. And episode 2, long recap, and they go through a bit of the time loop again. Meglos gets the pirates, General Grugan and everybody, to take him to Tygella. To take him to Tygella, and he shows up impersonating the Doctor, you know?
Hey. Meanwhile, the pirates, they just hang out in the jungle
near their
spaceship. Run into...
Meglos is like, 1 hour. Precisely 1 hour.
Precisely.
If I'm not making precisely an hour, they're like, we'll come get you if anything goes wrong. Goes wrong? I don't know if you know who I am.
Very egotistical villain.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he was buried down there for 10,000 years. I guess he thinks he's all that in a bag of chips.
Yeah.
Then again, if you're the only person you ever talk to, and you're alone,
you're the smartest
person in the room. Yeah.
What is it about 10,000 years in imprisonment? It's always 10,000. Like Illidan, Storm used. Just has a nice ring to it, I guess. 10,000 years.
Well, he implies at one point
something in Aladdin too.
He implies at one point that that his base only surfaces every 1,000 years because he says, "You want to be trapped in here for 1,000 years with me?"
Oh.
Remember that?
Yeah.
It's not directly stated, but it's implied.
Yeah, like it's tied to the constellation
Or time or something.
It's a bizarre design choice.
Well, I think it was...
How do you want to go to the grocery store quick?
Quick, 10,000 years.
Once every 1,000 years.
I think...
He's like Davy Jones and can only go ashore once a year.
Or every 7 years or whatever, you know. Alright, so episode 2, Meglos... Like I said, the story is really simple. Meglos shows up, gets introduced around. He says, "Hi, I'm Meglos. I'm the doctor. I'm expected."
Yeah, Zaster's like, "It's great seeing you again."
He's like,
Zaster's like,
"I met you? Oh, I've met you. Yeah, there's some signals there, you know."
"Show me the D12." And it's like, "Oh, you remember where it is."
"Oh, but since you're the leader, I'll follow you," which is a good save.
Mm-hmm. Of course, the religious people aren't great happy about him showing up and wanting to see their religious artifacts. They're like, well, he has to swear an oath of the Daeons
to worship and defend and uphold the allegiance to Tai.
They said, "Oh, what an honor! Of course, I'll do that." And then, I guess he had his fingers crossed behind his back.
No, but that was well played. That was really well played. So, and what also was well played, this guy's crafty. He is.
I liked him as a villain.
Meglos was crafty. They go, okay, what's the main lady's name? Lexa. She's like, okay, now they've sworn the oath. He's like, well, I must go in alone. I'm a Time Lord, and
he uses
you are all a danger if you're in there with me, but I'm not because I'm a Time Lord. And she goes, but I'll just go in there with you to represent the god. And he's like, but now that I have given my allegiance to Tai, I am protected by him. There is no need. It was beautifully well played.
Respect the something of the oath.
Yeah. So he goes in
alone,
and he's got this master-esque miniaturization device.
The thing that Brotagag was trying to steal earlier.
Yeah, Brotagag was trying to 5-finger discount it, and Meglos wouldn't let him.
Yeah, when Meglos turned back into a person.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
So put it back.
Alright, so...
Reminds you of the Waltons. The Igotzi store.
Igotzi?
You ever watch the Waltons?
When I was a kid.
There's this guy who owns the one grocery store. It's called Igotzi's.
Okay.
His name is Gotzi.
Okay.
Do you have Igotzi? It's a pun.
Okay.
Because he had... Okay.
Igotzi.
Igotzi.
Okay.
Okay. So he notices Brotagag trying to steal the miniaturizer, so he gets it back.
Right.
That's the tool he's using to miniaturize the D12.
Right. So the dodecahedron. So he has it in the palm of his hand.
It's actually D&D size now.
Yeah, it's actually, well, it's a little bigger than that. It's maybe a 25 or 30 millimeter D12. Gold. And when he was going in, Meglos was, doppelganger like the doctor. Lexa and another person trying to spy on him, they see him go in. And Lexa, did you get the other young lady's name?
Karis?
Yeah.
Or Dietrich. Karis.
I think it's Karis.
Yeah.
Lexa's like, she's the leader of the Deos faction. She's like, you're not allowed to go in there. She's like, well, neither are you. And so they both kind of, it's like two people see each other skipping work, or skipping school, and they both kind of go, do. So they kind of run around, and they're kind of watching the door, and then Meglos comes out. They think he's the doctor. And then they run in there, and, Kara's like, where's the light? There's no light.
Something's missing.
Yeah, so go down there and the dodecahedron is completely missing.
Meanwhile, the Doctor and Romana and K9 are stuck in this time loop.
Yeah.
And they quickly ask because after they complete a time loop, there's a small few seconds that they have
with the
before it
loops
loops
restarting, going back to the beginning.
So they ask K9, how do we get out of this specific time loop? And he says there are no known methods to get out of it. But
no technological methods.
Technological, yeah. So the Doctor has a great idea of a phase cancellation, which is to throw the time loop out of sync by looping and recreating your actions before time loops, and it got confused.
Right.
And it spit the time loop.
Right. So essentially, it'd be like a record skipping and playing, having a little bit of silence, but then playing part of the song, but you singing the song during the silence, so that the record doesn't know to continue or not.
It doesn't make any sense.
Well, it's super science fiction, like you said. This whole season gets really into the sci-fi, and it's not going to all make sense, but they managed to phase, distort, and get out of the time loop by doing exactly what they did while they were in the time loop.
So they land on the planet.
Yes.
The Doctor says, "You stay here with K9. I'm gonna go see my friend Zaster." Romana's exploring the jungle.
Well, because Moran's supposed to be with him.
50 years ago, they didn't live under the surface. They didn't have aggressive vegetation. So he lands, he goes, this should be the main hall.
It just wasn't as bad, but they did because that's how he knew the underground city. They'd already moved underground.
He knew an above ground place too, but he
says it wasn't really grown over since then.
Yeah. So they show up on the planet and says, this should be their like main corridor area, and they step out and it's just a big jungle. Some bell plants try to eat Romana. They get separated. The Doctor shows up at the D20 place.
Dodecahedron.
Yes.
12-sider. D12. So the Doctor's coming into the city. Romana is being attacked by a bell plant, and it reminds us very much of the planet in the Daleks' Master Plan. Okay?
Yes. Yeah, the Mission of the Unknown? Was that planet?
No, well, the Mission of the Unknown, but also the Daleks' Master Plan. It's the same planet.
Same planet.
But it reminds us a whole lot of that,
Something dangerous jungle planet. Kind of like Leela's planet. Jameis Thorne's.
Yeah. So, Romana gets attacked by this bell plant. The Doctor doesn't notice she's missing because he's leading the way. He gets to the city and he goes, Romana?
K9. So they kind of fix K9. He can hold a couple hours of charge.
Yeah, he has to recharge after a couple hours, so he's not working at full capacity.
K9 followed the Doctor, but then once the Doctor realizes Romana's missing, he says,
"You know where Romana is? Yeah, go get her and bring her here."
The dog's calling the Doctor mistress. They're rewiring him. He got all his pronouns mixed up.
Oh, titles anyway. Yeah. So the Doctor goes into the city. And one of the guards looks at him and goes...
They're very confused.
Yeah, like, I didn't see you come out. He says, what? This is the second time you've been here. The Doctor goes, you have a great memory. That was 50 years ago. And he says, what?
It's like the Yeti episode. It's like, make sure he doesn't leave the city. And he turns around and he says, oh, you said I could leave. You go, oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, man. So the Doctor goes in. But they're looking for the Doctor because Meglos is disguised as the Doctor. And the
2-meter Earth human guy is kind of fighting
the Earthling.
His ensorcelment.
Yes, exactly, ensorcelment. He's trying to remove himself from Meglos. And Meglos is like, it would kill you. And Meglos is holding him in, and there's this little bit of creepy layering on of the picture of the guy trying to pull out of Meglos and Meglos trying to keep him
back into himself.
But this causes Meglos to go back to Cactus, Tom Baker.
Prickly.
Yeah.
Puts his silicone gloves on.
Yeah. So he's hiding in an arboretum, I think. And they're looking for him. Well, they're looking for the doctor because I think he's the doctor. The doctor comes in, and they're like, "What did you do with the dodecahedron?" He's like, "What? I just got here. Yeah, I didn't do anything. Where is it? I don't know." And he's trying to explain everything to them. And they're like, "Take him away."
Take him away. Very confusing. Romana escapes her bell plant, but then she runs into the bandits, the pirates.
Yeah.
Who are still waiting their 1 hour.
In the meantime, K-9's looking for her.
Yes.
And he runs out of power, so he has to go shut down and power up for a while.
He just kind of parks in a bush.
Near the city, at least. Yeah. Romana ends up running into the pirates, and there's a good bit of scene where she's running around the jungle trying to avoid them, and they keep kind of corralling her in a certain direction.
They run into each other, and that's our cliffhanger for episode 2.
Yeah, and episode 2, and they do episode 3, and they've got the whole scene with her running around the jungle. Mm-hmm. I was almost certain they were going to go back and do the stuff with the doctor as well, because they've been padding the cliffhangers.
Yeah, it keeps jumping back and forth. The time loop was a long recap.
Yeah, this one was kind of long as well.
It ended on the doppelganger, then Romana.
But yeah, she gets captured by the pirates.
Third episode is
the general and the lieutenant. Lieutenant Bodarak? Brotagak and General Grugan. Brotagak is not very bright. Grugan is not very bright, but he's a little brighter than Broderick.
He's surprisingly intelligent for...
Well, yes and no.
He knows how he gets the broad conceptuality.
He's got some street smarts, but the whole anti-clockwise thing...
He's still easily duped.
Yeah, so they capture Ramon, and the general's like, well, why shouldn't I kill you right now?
He thinks she's one of the natives.
No, he says she's definitely not one of the natives.
Yeah.
And she's like, well,
we arrived on our spaceship.
Arrived on my ship, it accidentally landed on this planet. You gonna go get another drink?
Yeah.
Alright, cool. Cheers.
Refill.
Oh, I've got it right here.
Oh, gotcha.
Speaking of which, we forgot to say our names and what we were drinking, but
we're drinking today,
back. Hey, we can do that when you get back.
Oh, I'll do one.
I'm going to get right into the episode. Gung ho. So anyway, she leads them to the jungle on a bit of a wild goose chase to go to her ship, the TARDIS. And she leads them around in a big circle, and it takes a while, once again padding the episode. And they're like, oh, you led us back to the ship. You led us in a big circle. Why shouldn't I kill you? And she's like, well, this planet rotates anti-clockwise. Like, so? Well, it's very hard to navigate on a planet that rotates anti-clockwise. On a regular planet, if we'd gone the way we'd done, we wouldn't have ended up in a circle. Which is absolute and complete spurious logic. But the pirates don't realize that, and she manages to confuse them enough. Which is just kind of crazy. So they're like, okay, one more chance. Lead us to the ship. She's like, well, I'm going to try, but it's difficult to navigate in a planet that rotates anti-clockwise. Counterclockwise for Americans. So, anyway, she leads the pirates once again to the jungle, a bit on a wild goose chase.
That was the end of episode 4.
No. Oh, we're in the middle of episode 3.
On 3? Did you get distracted while I was gone? This is why I have to be here when he does it, or else he'll get off topic.
No, you're gone like 90 seconds. Alright. Hi,
Cheers.
I'm Hatter. This is Holden.
What are we doing today, Hatter?
I think it's the latest we've ever done this. Alright. I'm drinking Tito's vodka, made here in Texas.
I need one of those tabletop cards. Maybe I'd see through like step 1, draw, upkeep. Introduction to what are we drinking?
Yeah. And what are you drinking?
Screwdriver. Smirnoff Ice. Tito's a little bit more ice than mine.
Alright.
Don't actually freeze these. They're cold ice, but they don't have enough alcohol. They will freeze.
Yeah, they will actually freeze, unlike this vodka.
Yeah.
Right.
No, these make great ice cubes.
So
Orange juice popsicle.
So Romana is leading the pirates through the jungle.
Yes. Counterclockwise.
Anti-clockwise, yeah. And she leads them back to the Bell plant.
Mm-hmm.
And then she tries to get... she walks through the Bell plant, and they're behind her. And she kicks the Bell plant, which really agitates it, and it starts lashing out, and she runs away.
It's kind of like a... What do they call those? Piranha plants? It's kind of like a...
Venus flytrap, or...
Yeah, a something reaction. Involuntary.
It lashes out because it was kicked.
It thinks there's... It's like a spider web. You shake the spider web and
Yeah.
it thinks there's a fly in it, so...
Everything comes
She
out.
dashed through, kicked it, and start grabbing the pirates.
She runs away. Now there's like 7 pirates or so, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. She runs away.
Yeah.
She finds Canine. She's heading towards the city. In the meantime, inside the city,
Mm-hmm.
Meglos has found, what was the young lady's name? Cassie or Cassie or
Karis?
Karis.
Yeah.
Everyone's looking for the doctor, i.e. Meglos.
Do we talk about how they all have the same awful Prince
Oh,
haircut?
no, we'll get there. We'll get there. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff to talk about this serial after we talk about the plot.
All the Daons have these white braids, and all the savants have just this awful white blonde.
Oh, the
beige
super blonde
haircut.
Prince Valiant haircut, yeah. But it's like this, It's like
They got a widow's peak on it.
yeah, it's kind of freaky. But I guess it's part of the society / the religion,
Yeah. Well, the Daons, it's the savants that have the blonde hair. We don't know why they all get the same haircut. All the Daons have like that white ponytail.
Yeah. And it's funny because she has it. Lexa has it on her big hat,
Mm-hmm.
and she's got the hair, but the hair's not in the hair's
yeah.
not braided like everything else.
Well, she's the
She's the leader, but she has it on the hat. But
Zaster.
you figure she'd braid the hair like that.
She can't reach it back.
I don't know.
Zaster just has like grayish white hair.
Yeah, but I mean, you get somebody to do it for you.
It reminded me of Galaxy Quest. The good guys, the pilots of the ship, and they all have that awful bangs haircut.
Yep, it's the same scenario.
Yeah, it's their future.
Oh my gosh, we watched a bad movie last night.
Mm-hmm.
2025 Armageddon, an asylum film.
Ooh, how was that? Silent?
Asylum.
Oh, that's
And
okay.
it's a production company.
Mm-hmm.
And it was pretty bad. But part of it, you're like, we're watching Galaxy Quest. This movie is Galaxy Quest.
Galaxy Quest was great.
Right, this movie was
Best Star Trek film ever.
Yeah. I disagree, Wrath of Khan.
Khan's pretty good. I don't think I've ever seen it all the way through.
You should have gone and seen it with us, with Shatner.
Oh, that was Wrath of Khan?
Yeah, they
I
showed
thought they were
Wrath of
watching-
Khan and it was Shatner.
I thought they were watching the water one.
Star Trek 4?
Yes.
No,
I don't
it
know.
was Wrath of Khan.
And then
It's by far the best Star Trek movie.
Spock dies, and then he comes back.
That's 3,
Spoiler.
Search for Spock. 4, Voyage Home.
I don't think I've seen any of the Star Trek movies.
Okay. Alright.
I hear only every other one's worth watching.
Yeah, the even ones are good, the odd ones are bad.
And Khan's number 2.
Yes.
Fine.
It's the first even one.
That came out the same time as Star Wars, right?
Alright, hold on. No, the Star Trek movies happened because of Star Wars. Somebody at Paramount was like, we've got to put out a movie like that. What do we have? And there was some boy in the room, coffee boy, went, well, there's Star Trek, the old TV series from the 60s. So they dredged it up and they made Star Trek the motion picture.
They were going to make Star Wars Episode 3 and title it Revenge of the Sith, but then they renamed it to The Empire Strikes Back because it was titled Revenge of Khan, but then because they thought they were naming it Revenge of the Sith, they retitled it to Wrath of Khan. Because Wrath of Khan in Episode 3 came out.
You mean Revenge of the Jedi? No. It was Wrath of Khan and Revenge of the Jedi. So they changed it to Return of the Jedi. Like right here, I've got the Revenge of the Jedi.
So they named the third one Revenge of the...
They were going to, but which is Return of the Jedi, the third movie.
1981.
Yeah.
Same year as Wrath of Khan.
Right. So So they were going to have Revenge of the Jedi, and they were going to have Revenge of Khan.
Yes.
So Star Trek Paramount said, let us switch to Wrath of Khan, and Lucasfilm said, well, let's switch to Return of the Jedi, not knowing the other one was changing it.
The Empire Strikes Back.
No.
Third one.
The third one. Return of the Jedi.
Oh, okay. Second one's Empire Strikes Back.
Right.
Okay.
I swear we've been over this.
I think we've talked about this before.
Okay. Anyway, so inside the city, in the civilization, they have the religious Daons have decided to completely take over. They hold a coup. They toss out their leader, Forsyth, or whatever his name is.
Coop.
Huh?
Who? Zaster?
Zaster.
Yeah.
They throw out Zaster.
Poor guy.
Yeah. And they're like, okay, everyone who's not a believer is going to get thrown on the surface, which a bunch of the people wanted to move to the surface anyway.
They wanted, yeah.
Yeah, they really did. The young lady, Casa, or whatever her name is. Karis. She wanted to move to the surface. She says, look, we're dying down here. They're going to get thrown on the surface, and eventually they're going to get destroyed by the plant life. Or at least they think so. In the meantime, and Zoras, or what's his name? Zoras.
Yeah.
I finally got it right.
Zaster?
Huh?
Who?
Yeah, Zoras. Zoras is like, I've always been a believer. She's like, no, it's not words, it's deeds. We're going to throw you out on the surface.
Yeah, Zaster is like...
Yeah, and they take the doctor, and she's like, you're gonna help get the dodecahedron back. He's like, well, I'll do whatever I can in the ordinary way. And she's like, this is not the ordinary way.
So he must appease the gods.
Yeah. So they tie him down, restrain him on the altar where the dodecahedron used to be. They take a giant styrofoam rock. A giant granite rock, and they tie it above him with 3 ropes. And then she gives us right, and they start burning the ropes with a torch.
End of Episode 3.
Yeah.
In Episode 4, we get to watch it all over again.
Well, wait. In Episode 3, towards the end, Romana makes it to the city with K9.
Yes.
They shut the doors.
He was still charging, so she had to pick him up and
carry him. They shut the doors, and the pirates are chasing her. And on the outside, they're stuck outside. She's stuck in the antechamber, can't get into the inside, just the little antechamber. And like Galaxy 4, you know? Yeah, and they're trying to get in. She's trying to get through, and the people hear this banging, and so a bunch of guards go to the door.
They kind of look like they're wearing those Darth Vader helmets that they had.
Well, they had to do that because a bunch of the people doubled up in roles, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're a pirate. Okay, now you're this guard, so we've got this mask. It's a way to do a cheap, production on the show.
Yeah.
The pirates break in with a log they cut up. They've got a battering ram.
Tree and the door open.
That's a classic battering ram.
Yeah, they're pirates, all right.
The door goes up. Romana runs in. They're like, don't shoot her with K9. And the pirates and the guards have a big shootout. 6 guards die and 3 pirates die.
And then, yes.
Yeah.
6 guards?
Yeah, I believe it was 6 guards.
That's a lot of guards.
Yeah. I believe there were 6 there. I didn't stop or pause it to count them.
Yeah,
Might have been 5.
I didn't keep up with the death count.
Yeah.
I think it's 9 people died.
10 total.
10, including Lexa.
Yeah. So 6, 3, and 1.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, they're about to execute the doctor.
Zasher comes back, right?
Yeah.
Falls off the execution.
They're about to execute the doctor in episode 3. Yeah. Episode 4, Meglos shows up. And he's already told Karis that it's Meglos and not the doctor, and shown her the dodecahedron. Yes. He walks out with the pirates.
For no reason, he just explains.
Okay, once again, the ego, the hubris of the bad guys usually gets them to reveal their hand way too soon.
I've never met a humble villain before. But
yeah.
That would be the most dangerous one.
I think the most humble villain you could come up with would probably be Aladdin.
Aladdin's a villain? In the original, or are you talking about the Disney movies?
Just in general, originally,
originally
he's a thief. He comes into his own during it. Rapist? What are you about rapist?
The original Aladdin book, he basically takes the princess against her will and kicks out the prince that she was going to marry. And he keeps having
maybe Aladdin would be the original. I don't know. If he did that, he wasn't humble.
Once he finds the genie, he's not at all humble in the original. The original Middle Eastern story, I think it was.
Yeah. 1001 Arabian Nights kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, no, he was not a good guy.
They usually aren't. Okay. Anyway, so
Ariel gets her tongue cut out.
Not only that, but she dies and turns into sea foam in order to save her prince in the original book.
They're so dark, and then Disney was like, let's get these really dark, horrific stories, these Grimm's Tales, and make children's movies out.
They were public domain. They went the cheap route. Alright, they're still going the cheap route. Alright, so in episode 4, Romana finally gets through all the stuff that's going on, because she gets past the guards while the firefight's still going on. She has to leave K9, and the pirates think K9 is of no worth, which is funny.
Yes.
Meglos shows up, and he's still fighting with the humanoid, the Earthling. He grabs the pirates. They head towards the pirate ship. They take off to go back to his planet, Tolly Williker, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the meantime, Karis and Romana are talking as they're going down and into the base, into the city. And she's like, no, that wasn't the doctor. Because Romana knocked her out thinking that she had the doctor under the gun. And she's like, no, that was the doctor. It was Meglos. He told me so. And she's like, oh. So they go down into the city, and they're trying to, and they bump into everybody. What's the main guy's name? Zaster. And what's the diadem or whatever his name is? Dietrix. They bump into them, and the doctor explained earlier there was a possibility of a doppelganger. He was trying to figure out how in the world they could have seen him do what he did earlier when he wasn't there. And
he was thinking maybe it had to do with the dodecahedron. What do they call them? Faster than light particles. Tachyons?
Okay.
It's like a future projection, maybe.
Well, that comes a little later. But he must have projected himself on a certain wavelength of light. It's like, oh yeah, that was a sparkling example of whatever.
But didn't we deal with tachyons in the last serial?
No, there's no tachyons in this one.
Or the one before.
I think it's baryon or something.
Well, as the idea is Well, he was wrong. It wasn't. It wasn't a projection. It was a doppelganger.
So they bump into everybody, and Karis is like, no, it was a Meglos. It was this other guy. He looked just like the Doctor. And what's his name?
Which one?
The young guy.
Dietrich's?
Yeah, Dietrich's like, the doppelganger. So they're like, wait a minute, where's the Doctor? Oh, he's about to be, ritually sacrificed. Mm-hmm. So they all run down there and they stop the sacrifice.
The Doctor had no escape plan for the sacrifice?
That is correct, it seems.
Looks like he's gonna die. Is that why he takes companions? Because he knows to
Well, it's always good to have friends.
You think I'd save you if you're about to be sacrificed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And vice versa.
Okay.
But no. That's why the Doctor wins so much, so many times, is because his friends save him.
Yeah.
And he saves them, and they save him. Mm-hmm. And that's why the bad guys, many times, don't have any friends.
And then, if they don't know anything about space travel, they'll get thrown out of the TARDIS. Katarina? What was her?
Katarina didn't quite ever make it to the TARDIS.
She didn't? I thought she
that was her kingdom. Hold on.
Yeah, it is.
Katarina was...
That's the Troy one.
Yeah.
She was there.
No. She was there. She sacrificed herself to save the Doctor and them by throwing herself and the bad guy into the airlock during the Daleks' master plan.
Yes.
That title is referenced later.
Yeah, the Daleks.
In the Power of the Doctor, the Master uses the Daleks, and he's looking at the Doctor going, "This is what I call the Master's Dalek plan." Yeah. God, that episode is so campy and is actually really good. It's so much fun. It's Chibnall and Whittaker's best episode.
Really?
And I just rewatched it again last night, which is a rarity that I rewatch a Whittaker episode.
What's our next serial? Full Circle?
Yeah. Well, hold on, we'll get there. But
okay.
The next three serials are Full Circle, State of Decay, and Warrior's Gate, which is commonly referred to as the E-Space trilogy, because they all take place in E-Space.
What is the E-Space?
Is
that next to F space and G space?
Oh yeah, no. Picture our universe as a big giant bubble.
Mm-hmm.
And you know when you make a bubble, so there's a little extra bubble on the outside of it?
Uh-huh.
Something like that.
Mirror.
No,
dimension.
Not really.
Like Mondas.
We'll get there.
Okay.
We'll get there next week.
So the E stands for extra. A little bit of extra space.
I don't remember what it stands for, actually. But we'll get there. It's like I said, this is a really strange season with really strange stories. Just odd.
Yeah, I thought the plant thing was pretty strange.
Yeah. Anyway, so the Doctor is like, hey, we need to go, and we need to go to that other planet, and we need to stop these guys. So they head over to the other hyphenated names planet. To the other planet with a hyphenated name, Meglos' planet. In the meantime, Meglos, with the pirates, is taking these, buried the dodecahedron, and his base comes up from the sand, and the dodecahedron's on top, and there's the screens.
It's big again.
Of Twilia or whatever that planet is.
Yeah, little reflector screens.
Yeah, and that's the only thing on this planet.
The screens, they magnify the power out. It turns this planet into a Death Star with the dodecahedron. So you can blow up other planets.
Right. Giant Death Star. You can program it at whatever and blow it up. And he looks at the pirates. He's like, okay, Lieutenant Bartagras?
Brotagat.
Brotagat.
He's like, we would destroy a planet.
And what would you do?
And planet.
Okay, I love Brotagat's personality. He's simple. He knows what he likes. And all he's ever wanted the entire time was the Doctor's coat. And he's like, I just like the coat. And he takes, and Meglos takes off his coat and hands it to him. So he goes to the general. Grugan says. And he's like, okay, what plan would you destroy? So
I'll start with Tagilon.
Yeah, let's start with Tagilon. And it's like, okay, And so Meglos is setting all these controls to do all this stuff, and he has to go outside, he has to check some stuff. In the meantime,
Collector plant panels.
yeah, the doctor comes in, and he's like, well, if Meglos can impersonate me, I can impersonate him.
So the doctor sticks his face in a cactus so he can...
No, he's not cactusy at the point. So the doctor goes in and convinces them that he's Meglos. Then he messes with the controls.
Would you hold this panel for me?
Yeah. He goes out, he thinks he's getting caught, and then he convinces the guard to hold the panel, because why would I put my hands up except I'm holding it? Does this look vertical to you? Yeah. No.
You notice Meglos took his jacket off, so the doctor takes his jacket off.
He says shirt sleeves, eh? Yeah.
So he takes his jacket off by the guy that's helping him hold on.
Throws it on the ground. The guy eventually picks up the jacket and brings it back in. The doctor looks like he's going to be caught.
2 jackets.
Right, but he goes, oh, and you know what, General Grugan? You have served me so well, I decided to get a jacket for you too. Because Grugan is like, 2 jackets. Yeah, the doctor just plays this off really well. So Grugan figures out that, hey, we don't need him. I think I figured this all out. Yeah. So take Meglos, throw him in the brig of the ship. So a couple of guards take Meglos, because the doctor saw Meglos coming and he goes the other way. Take Meglos, hit him in the stomach, drag him into the ship, throw him in. And I was like, ooh, that could have been me. Then he runs into 2 other guards who hit him in the stomach and drag him to the ship and throw him in. So he's in the hold with Meglos, and they both look like Tom Baker.
But only one of them acts like Tom Baker.
Yeah, the other one's a megalomaniac.
So it's easy to tell them apart.
So anyway, in the meantime, Romana, Canine,
Zaster,
Karis, not
Zaster,
Dietrich. Yeah. They,
a lot of people.
They are looking at stuff, and they figure out that they've got the doctor. So they get it. They sneak into the ship. Well, the one guy, Dietrich, tries to hit this pirate, this poor pirate,
big old rock
on the head, but he's got a helmet.
It's right.
And so Canine zaps him, and he goes down. But this guy, I mean, he was basically a glorified extra. He was in all these scenes. He survived, when they lost 3 guys in the fight. He never gets to say a single word. And he goes down, and it's just like, oh man, he should have.
Red shirt standing.
Right, it would have been nice if he'd said something, at least gotten a credit,
He said, ah.
No, he just went down. Anyway.
He said, oof.
But anyway, so they go in, the doctor's talking to Meglos. He's like, oh yeah. Meglos is like, I will control the universe. I said, why would you want to control the universe? Why would a good-looking guy like you want to control the universe? And Meglos is like, oh, I'll do it, and we're going to destroy Tivoli or whatever.
Yes.
And the doctor's like, no, I inverted the power. Reverse the polarity.
You reverse the polarity.
Reverse the polarity. He said, inverted the power. If they do that,
they're the ones who will explode.
It'll destroy this entire planet. And he's like, no.
So now Meglos also has to get out of jail.
Right. So Canine cuts a hole in it. The cell. Romana looks in, sees the 2 doctors, and goes, good heavens. The 2 people from the planet run up and hold. They quickly realize who's the real doctor and who's not.
Yeah, the one smiling is...
Yeah, the one friendly is the real doctor, and the one going, get out of my way, is Meglos. They hold him to the wall, and the Earthling goes, I finally can get out of this. They've got you. And Meglos goes, no, they've got you. And then suddenly he told them he would die if he tried to break away, but suddenly there's this like
the
removal.
Human didn't break away from
Meglos.
I guess Meglos, that's why he didn't die, was because Meglos rejected.
I think Meglos lies.
His host, or that And Meglos turns into this sludgy thing.
Slimy cactus thingy. And Meglos, I don't know why K9 doesn't zap him. I don't know why they don't stomp on him, but Meglos crawls out of the hole.
Shock.
Starts crawling across to the base. Meantime, the doctor's like, we should get out of here.
Oh, yeah.
He goes to the Earthling. He's like, do you want to be vaporized?
Nope.
No. Then run. They all run back to the TARDIS.
Which means he's a companion too now.
No.
He rode on the TARDIS.
He didn't fill the companion role.
He's there for.
He doesn't specifically help the doctor.
We don't know his name.
You don't know his name does not help your case. He does not specifically help the doctor. All right. So, Romana and K9, the doctor, Karis, the Earthling, and what's the other guy's name? Dietrich's. All run back to the TARDIS. The doctor's like, well, don't fail me now, girl. And, Lieutenant Brotagetic finally gets his countdown. He's been wanting to do a countdown. And he has 2 jackets now, which is awesome. And he's doing the countdown, and the doctor's like, come on. And the TARDIS finally leaves. And
he starts arguing with
Gruggan. But Meglos gets there. And I was like, no, stopping. Gruggan's like, no, stop. He's like, I can't stop it. The clock's over. Stop the clock. And then the planet explodes.
Happily ever after.
Yeah. The doctor is shown briefly with Romana and K9 on the main planet. And the doctor is talking to them. He's like, everything's good. They're like, everything's good. We're coming back. They don't have the dodecahedron, so they're now coming back to the surface of the planet. Think Logan's Run, where they needed to be. And they're going to deforest, and they're going to make a world again good. And they don't have the stupid, crazy death cult. Oh, we forgot to mention that Lexa,
she died in that.
She dies saving Romana.
So she has a redemption.
She has a little bit, yeah.
I wouldn't say she's an intentional villain.
But it was one of the weird pirate guys attempting a shot as he was dying on her. Well, towards the front. It was just a weird scenario. Like, she has to die. Let's kill her for the redemption arc or whatever. Let her die in this case.
Yeah.
So,
we didn't like her anyway.
Yeah. So the doctor is like, hey, Earthling, we'll drop you off at home unless you want to stay here. And the thing's like, well, I'll be in trouble if I go home. I told my wife I'd be there in 20 minutes. And I says, we can get you there before you left.
All the time in the world.
It's like, what?
Oh, perfect.
End of episode 4.
So you said 20 seasons from now we see...
30 years from now we see the cactus people. But it's not the same race, but it is the same style of makeup.
How do you know it's that?
Because it died off. There was nothing left. He got vaporized.
So, Meglos does not come back. His children do, though. Okay.
Different race, same style of makeup. Besides, the only reason he was a humanoid with the cactus stuff was because of that merger. He was generally just a cactus. These are proper humanoids with cactus stuff.
Dodecahedron.
Yeah.
Is it D12?
Yeah.
2 and 10?
Yeah, I thought it was 2 and 10 made 20, but it was 12. My wife was right on that.
What is a D20?
Isocahedron.
Isocahedron.
She looked it up, yeah. Isocahedron. I don't know
Never
why.
heard that word before.
Well, I've heard it before. I forgot it.
The doctor said, Meglos says, having lived in the future, I cannot die in the past. What's that all about?
It was a way, and the one guy's like,
is that how
Dekion or whatever. He's like, well, that's a paradox. Ah! Dude. Alright, hold on. Go get some paper towels. What are you doing? Pouring one out for your homies on the couch? Oh my gosh. Okay. So Meglos was making a spurious argument that he lived in the future. He's been in the future. He's lived in the future, so he can't die in the present. And Deacon was like, "Well, that's a."
Forgot I was in.
You forgot you still had some.
I forgot.
You were like, "Wee!" All right. He was like, "Well, that's a paradox because it is a paradox. You can't have lived in your future timeline."
This question doesn't come up. I'm listening. Where were we?
Right, you do that. I'm gonna go take a leak.
Don't mind me.
No, don't mind him. I'm taking a leak. I'll be right back.
So as we're
All right, I'll be right back.
So the doctor says, "I hope you like botany." He says, "Well, I might as well."
Herbiculture.
The herbiculture. The missus is gonna be mad at me. Gotta. Said I would only be gone for 20 minutes, and said, "Well, we have a time machine. We'll get you back before you even left. That's convenient." Oh, cliffhanger! Next time we're watching Full Circle, and as before mentioned, that's part of a campy space trilogy. Is that Baker's last season? I think we're on Baker's last season. And then we're on to, what's his face? Celery Stick Man? Same lapel. This last season of Baker, he had a costume change. So he has a red jacket now. And he has the question mark lapels that the new two guys are going to have. So they're getting some costume changes, even though it feels like they're running out of money. So they don't have like the film on location like they usually do. They have, feels like limited set pieces. Like Adam was saying, we noticed they just kept using the same staircase over and over and over again. The same hallway. They're building less sets, it feels like. Also, plot-wise, it felt like this should have been like a 3-parter. Went on to 4 parts, long recaps. There's a marked decline in the quality of the show during Tom Baker's last season. At least it feels that way. But the acting caliber is very good, so you don't really mind too much. You don't mind the big blue screen, green screen, the miniatures. It's just part of the 80s. Even though it was low budget at the time. I mean, it wouldn't have held up even if it was high budget at the time, so. What's Harry drinking though? Smells clean. So how was y'all's weekend? We pretty much covered the recap. Yeah,
You just covered we finished the weekend.
yeah, we're talking about how our weekend was going.
Oh, okay. All right.
The little circle.
Let's see. Okay. So, any other questions?
No escape plan. Mini hands make the light work.
Mini hands make lights work.
Random person absorbed in. Nope, not a whole lot of notes. It's kind of a straightforward one.
Really simple. It's like, hi, I'm gonna help. Hi, I'm gonna take your place. Oh, I'm here. You think I'm him. I'll fix it. Oh, okay, good, done. Oh, and some pirates mixed in for fun.
Yes, just for fun. Okay, just for some fun. We're talking about the market decline in funding, like no longer filming on location, limited sets.
It kind of starts here it's the 80s, right?
This is his last season, right?
Right, and this is the first season of the 80s. It's 1980. But it continues to go downhill and downhill and downhill from here in terms of production value, in terms of number of episodes, in terms of quality, generally speaking. I say generally speaking because Davison still has some really great stuff. That's the 5th Doctor, which we'll get to soon. Mm-hmm. And right at the end, the last season of McCoy, things were like really turning around and getting good again, but it had been canceled, unfortunately.
That one's McCoy?
That's McCoy, yeah. All right, so we have Davison next.
Celery.
Him, yep. Then Colin Baker, yep. And then McCoy. And then let's see, cancellation of the original run.
Yeah, the old stuff.
Well, yes and no.
Of an
There's
era.
still the TV movie, which is basically the first revival with McGann.
McGann.
The single
He only
TV
has one
movie.
movie.
Yeah, that's it. He does have a minisode later on. And he does come back in The Power of the Doctor.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Like these one-shot doctors, the war doctors, do they come back in the anniversary specials and stuff?
Okay, the War Doctor. Okay.
Is it like the
Let's
one-shot?
separate the numbered doctors,
Mhm.
from the named doctors.
Okay, but there's one-shot doctors like the animated Doctor, right? And McGann, he was a full regeneration.
Right.
Like,
He is the 8th Doctor. He's a numbered Doctor. He's a proper Doctor.
But he never had his own seasons, TV.
He basically had the
episodes.
TV movie,
Yeah.
the minisode, and that's it. But he does come back later on.
For like the multi-doctor specials.
He shows up again in The Power of the Doctor. And
Okay.
he shows up in the Night of the Doctor minisode for the 50th anniversary special. He is a numbered proper Doctor. The named doctors, such as the War Doctor, the Fugitive Doctor,
They don't show back up again.
generally not. The War Doctor doesn't because, well, the actor John Hurt died. The Fugitive Doctor, i.e. Dr. Ruth, Dr. Judy, sorry, she comes back a couple of times in the same role.
Cool.
Also, once again, in The Power of the Doctor, which is just a big showcase at the end of Chibnall's era. At least that great episode, which I didn't think I would say about any of the episodes of the Chibnall era. All right. Couple things to talk about in this serial. The blue screen.
Blue screen.
Okay. The blue screen, when they're on the one planet with the screens, whatever the heck the name of the planet is, hyphenated, you can see the artifacts of the blue screen. All right, we're watching it in high definition on a 5-foot, 6-foot TV. Okay, it was originally done in standard definition on a 26, 27 inch screen. You can see artifacts of this in the main part, General Grugan's
Their hairline.
his hair. You can see the blue in his beard, and in Tom Baker later on, you can see the blue all around his hair, his fro.
He's filmed too far away from the blue screen, so he's kind of translucent. He looks like a ghost
At times, and
it's bleeding through.
there are several times that you can see the lines. Now, once again, this is 1980 technology
Yeah, it was the 80s.
shown on high definition big screen TVs, and it doesn't quite hold up, you know?
Well, they had a decline in their show budget, but even if it was a high budget
Not
sci-fi,
quite yet.
it feels like they're not filming on location. They have limited sets. Even if it was like movie high budget Star Wars film-esque special effects, it still wouldn't have held up. But it's the acting that holds up, like the characters that
True.
is what
And
makes
some
it
things
fun.
hold up better than others, but the blue screen artifacts are very distinct in this particular serial.
Yes, they're pretty bad.
The other one was, what was the planet?
Which one?
Oh, the planet where the Cybermen were trying to destroy it.
Mondas?
No, the people with the gold. They were on the asteroid.
Oh, the Tomb of the Cybermen?
No, Tom Baker, a couple of seasons ago.
Was it Cybermen?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Let's see. Remember there was a people on the planet, on the asteroid.
This was last season?
Underworld. No, season 15. Underworld. It was
Underworld.
3 seasons ago.
Oh, okay.
You remember that was another one where the blue screen doesn't hold up.
Oh.
Where it just does not work on modern TVs.
I don't remember that one.
Okay, the one where the people were in the asteroid, there was so much gold, and the Cybermen were in there trying to destroy the planet because the asteroid because it had so much gold, and they were damaged by gold.
And it had the
Serial 96.
The astronauts with the weird suits.
The people who are on the Infinite Quest.
They're running around in the tunnel. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do remember that.
Underworld. Yeah.
That was okay.
Yeah, it was okay, but it was. It's another one where the special effects did not hold up well. You know.
I've always been a fan of practical effects.
Well, I agree, but blue screens and green screens are used. Originally blue screens, now green screens are used a lot. The other thing to note is the limiting lack of sets in this.
Yeah, there's.
They have one spiral staircase. They have one hallway, and they use them every 5 minutes. They're walking down that one hallway or up that one or down that one spiral staircase constantly.
Yeah. So not really the most visually stunning serial. That is still great. The characters, it was fun.
It was fun. All the serials in this season are reasonably fun, except maybe the last two.
I think are they more serious, more dark?
No, they just
bad.
Like Legopolis loses some of the fun. We'll see.
I thought Brotagag was very fun.
Yeah, he was hilarious. But he dies at the end. But at least he has 2 coats when he dies.
2 coats.
Alright. Anything else?
I think we covered all our questions.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Anything new in the Doctor Who news?
Not really from last time with the new reinvigorated, we're doing more animations.
Yeah.
To hopefully complete more of the original 6 seasons with the animations.
When are they ever going to finish animating like Hartnell stuff?
2027, 2028.
You're going by like a popularity thing?
No. I figured out at the rate they were doing the animations, at the rate they were coming out with the Blu-ray box set, season sets, that they would finish both of those around 2027, 2028.
Oh.
So we have maybe another 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah. And we will have hopefully everything that's not currently existing animated, and hopefully everything in Blu-ray.
Because we had a lot of Hartnell reconstructions. It'd be cool to see those animated.
Well, we had more Troughton reconstructions.
A lot of Troughton reconstructions.
Lots of. But now we have animations, and we have found serials, like the one with Salamander, The Enemy of the World.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, such a good one. Alright.
So next week, full circle.
Yep. Full circle.
Where we will come full circle and talk about the exact same Meglos.
Not exactly.
Not that kind of circle.
It's not Groundhog Day.
Not a time loop. Not a paradox. I like when we do our heroes and villains and we do the 2 episodes in one day.
It's like, look, we'll be here next week. No, it's not next week. We're in the same clothes.
So I happen to be wearing the same clothes.
Oh, yeah.
Upload them on the same week.
Yeah. Alright. We will see you next week. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Don't forget to pour one out for the homies.
Like, subscribe, whatever. We don't care.
You do.